Who actually invented the internet, and why? Have you ever stopped to think about who really came up with the internet? We know plenty of people have become insanely rich by creating clever ways to use the internet, apps, platforms, online stores. But the actual invention of the internet itself, you'd think whoever pulled that off would be rewarded on a godlike scale. So, who gets the credit? Was it a lone genius tinkering in a hidden European lab, a group of American scientists worried about nuclear war, maybe the French, who decided to experiment with their own internet? Or was it the collective effort of brilliant minds across different countries, all solving parts of the puzzle without realizing just how massive it would become? Let's sort out what really happened. First, we need to separate two ideas: the internet, which is the global system of computer networks, and the World Wide Web, which is just one way of using that system to share information. The internet as we know it wasn't born overnight. It took decades of experimentation and innovation. There's a popular myth that the US built the internet to survive a nuclear war. It makes for a dramatic story, but it isn't quite true. The first real network project, ARPANET, began in the 1960s, and its main goal wasn't survival at all. It was about efficiency, specifically letting scientists share precious computer power through time sharing. At the time, computers were massive machines that could only process one job at a time. Time sharing allowed multiple researchers to use the same machine simultaneously, which naturally raised the next question: how do we connect these computers so they can talk to each other? Different countries tackled different parts of that challenge. In Britain, researchers at the National Physical Laboratory developed the idea of packet switching, breaking data into smaller chunks that could travel separately and be reassembled at their destination. This avoided traffic jams in the network. Meanwhile, in France, the Cyclades project explored simpler direct connections between computers. They didn't have huge funding, but they contributed ideas that shaped the way we think about networking, and maybe even gave rise to the word internet itself. By the early 1970s, networks existed but couldn't communicate with one another smoothly. Enter TCP/IP, the set of protocols that became the common language of the internet. This system labeled packets of data, guided them along different routes, and ensured they all arrived intact. By 1975, networks were truly starting to connect. Around the same time, email emerged on ARPANET and quickly became the killer app of its era. By the mid-1970s, most of the traffic on these networks was email. Still, the whole thing was clunky and text-only. That changed in the 1980s, when a British computer scientist at CERN, Tim Berners-Lee, had an idea. He wanted a way for researchers to easily share and link information. He created a system using HTTP, HTML, and URLs, the foundation of web browsers. His invention, the World Wide Web, wasn't the internet itself, but it transformed the internet into something people everywhere could actually use. The first website went live at CERN in 1991. From there, growth was explosive. Message boards popped up in the 1980s. Telecom companies realized the potential of digital communication. Web browsers spread like wildfire in the early 1990s. By the mid-1990s, the internet had become mainstream, and ordinary people were jumping on to send emails, read news, and explore websites. And what about the famous Al Gore invented the internet claim? Not quite. He never said he created it, but he did play a big role in pushing legislation that helped expand and fund it. So while he didn't invent the technology, he helped make sure it spread. So, who invented the internet? The truth is, no single person did. It was the product of decades of collaboration among scientists across the globe. Step by step, they put together the building blocks, from packet switching to TCP/IP to the web. The internet exists because humans have an unstoppable urge to communicate. It has become a tool for work, shopping, dating, entertainment, research, propaganda, and yes, procrastination. But at its core, every click, every post, every message is part of what makes us human, our need to connect. Don't forget to subscribe for more and drop your comments below.